Good evening. My name is Sandra Fritz. I'm the chairperson of the Shrewsbury School Committee. Welcome to our meeting of March 24th. Tonight's meeting is broadcast live on Selco channels 29 and 329, and thanks to the work of the Shrewsbury Media Connection and Liz Poplowski, we're able to bring it forward tonight. Next on the agenda is public participation. No one has asked to address the committee this evening. If anybody wishes to do so in the future, please reach out to us at schoolcommittee@shrewsbury.k12.ma.us. Next is chairperson and members report. Does anyone have anything this evening? Nothing? Thank you. Next is superintendent's report.
I would just like to mention that last week I had the pleasure, along with some of you, to attend the awards night at Shrewsbury High School, where many students from the senior class of 2023 were notified of scholarships that they earned. We have a lot of local, very generous benefactors who provided a lot of funding for students to pursue higher education next year, and we're very pleased to see all of those recipients. And then there were a variety of awards that were presented for various academic disciplines and performance, as well as for leadership, and just want to commend and congratulate all of the recipients of awards at last year's high school presentation. And just to let the community know that next week is a big week, as many people in this room know, is the commemoration will be on Tuesday evening at Mechanics Hall to celebrate the history and the accomplishments of the class of 2023 of Shrewsbury High School. Wednesday evening will be the faculty and student event that's happening at Union Station, I believe, this year, which is always a highlight. And then Thursday, June 1st, will be graduation in the high school stadium, and we are looking forward to that very much. So, as always, our partners from Shrewsbury Media Connection will be broadcasting for us. For those, hopefully many people in the community will tune in and watch these terrific young people complete their high school careers. And that is Superintendent's report this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer. Our first time scheduled appointment this evening is a student recognition. It's the United Way Youth Volunteer of the Year Award, which has been given to the class of 2023 at SHS. And I'll ask Mr. Lane to come forward, assistant principal, and Mr. Bazillo. And I believe we have two students as well. Oh, Mr. Bazillo is not coming forward. Okay.
It's gonna stay back.
So can you get seated if you just want to introduce yourselves for everybody watching at home?
My name is Kathy Nguyen, and I'm a senior at Shrewsbury High School.
My name is Hanemali Riviere, and I'm also a senior at Shrewsbury High School.
And I'm Jeffrey Lane, assistant principal at Shrewsbury High School.
And I'm trying to get the display up here, so bear with me for 1 minute. Usually this works like clockwork. My apologies. I'm thinking if people will bear with it for 1 moment, we have to make sure that the apple tea, you got it, Mr. Pasillo? Thank you. Saving the day. I appreciate it.
Excellent. So thank you for having us tonight. So we're gonna share with you a journey that we had this year as a senior class of service learning, and kind of a pilot program that we decided to embark on this past summer, and it turned out to be a really, really great adventure. So I'm joined by Kathy Nguyen, Hanemali Riviere, Riviere, from the class of 2023, who participated in some of the trips that we had. So this summer, I met with the administration. We have a vehicle that was provided to us by Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union, and we kind of talked over the summer in planning out the year a way that we could benefit some of our students, but also benefit the community and get out and do some service learning work. I'll be honest with you, from my standpoint as assistant principal and grade administrator for the senior class, my motivation for doing this was really just to connect with kids. I just wanted to spend some time with some of our students. So we kind of took it as a pilot and said, well, let's go one trip a month, the third Thursday of every month. We'll put out a post in Schoology to see how many kids sign up. We didn't know how many would sign up, if anybody would want to spend some time with Mr. Lane. And as it turned out, every single time we put a sign up out, within minutes, it was filled up with kids looking to get out and service the community. So some of the places that we visited in Worcester, we visited Purnett Family Services, we visited the YMCA of Worcester, we did a day of service through the United Way, and we did a community day of service with some of the local areas around Shrewsbury. We went and actually raked some yards for some people, some elderly people who couldn't get out, and then we did a sidewalk community pantry as well. I should say also that in this summer, trying to figure out what we were going to do, I did enlist the services of the United Way in Worcester. We have a great partnership with Shrewsbury, some of our students going there and helping out during the summer. So I did enlist their services and said, hey, do you have some areas that I can call, some services that I can call where we can be of service to? They provided some of these names, and that's kind of how we got rolling on some of the places that we were going to visit. Of all these places that I visited, and certainly Kathy and Hannah Emily will certainly talk about their adventures as well, but my favorite happened to be the community fridges. I didn't even know that they existed. But in the community of Worcester, there's about 8 community fridges that are literally on the sidewalks, and different stores like Target and Walmart will show up and drop off supplies, so they need volunteers to stock the fridges and the pantries, clean the fridges out, and people just come off of the streets and are looking to bring food home. So we got to meet a variety of people who were coming to get some food. They were very thankful. They were very appreciative. They helped us load. The girls that went on this particular trip were extremely excited to be out in the community and talk about or talk with some of the people that came by. I really had a great time with this one. This one really kind of tugged at my heartstrings, so I was very excited about it. Kathy, I know you were on that trip. You want to talk a little bit about that one?
Yeah, so I had grown up in Worcester for, like, I'd say half my life, and even though I had grown up in some of these areas, I had never known that there was these food fridges that existed. And while we were cleaning them up and kind of putting the food in, people were coming by and taking as we were cleaning, and then we also had people show their gratitude. People on the street driving by, they honked at us and showed appreciation, yelled thank you, and I thought that was really good. And I kind of started signing up for these trips because I saw it as an easy way to earn my volunteer hours for National Honor Society. My first trip was to Purnett Family Service. And after that, I just kind of loved it. And every time Mr. Lane would post sign up, I'd gather all of my friends and be like, let's sign up. I wanted to show them how fun it was, my first trip. And after Purnett, I've gone back multiple times to donate clothing, and which is good because they don't, they give clothing away to people that need it. The other places I was thinking of donating to was like Goodwill or Savers, but they make a profit off that. So I'm really glad Purnett is able to give that back to the community like that. And for the community fridges, I also learned we have one in Shrewsbury as well around here, so that was pretty good. And when we got there, there was already tons of food in there, so that was really nice to see.
And then Hannah Emily, she spent most of her time at Purnett, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if Hannah Emily wants to talk a little bit about her experience as well.
Well, I moved out here freshman year of high school, which was briefly 4 years ago. And I moved out here from Haiti. When I was in Haiti, that's where I grew up. I used to do a lot of volunteering with my school and just generally with my family too, when there were hurricanes or catastrophes like that. And I loved doing it, so I was like, Mom, let's keep doing it. And she was like, yes. We used to donate clothes, shoes to the ones in need, go out and buy presents for Christmas, and we have them come to a location and then we give it out. So I just wanted to keep doing it when I moved out here, and when I saw Mr. Lane posting those sign-ups, and I was like, okay, let me sign up. And then when I did my first time, I was like, I like this, I'm gonna do it whenever I can. And when I wasn't busy, I just signed up, and then I was like getting my friends to do it too, to show them, like Kathy said, how fun it is to help people. And yeah.
So at some point in the spring, somewhere around March, somebody nominated us for to get an award through the United Way, and we were nominated for the Youth Volunteer of the Year. and we were lucky enough to be recognized by the United Way of Central Massachusetts. I attended the service. It was at South High School, the beautiful new South High School in Worcester. We were the only outside organization outside of Worcester that was being awarded that night. And on the screen is the plaque which I brought here tonight, that we were presented. And also through Michael Moore's office, our state senator, we also were lucky enough to get an official citation in recognition of our award that we received. So it was a really great night. I wish our kids could have been there to be a part of that as well, but with the spring season and sports going on, I wasn't able to enlist students to come with me. But it was a fantastic night at South to kind of celebrate, and then we celebrated ourselves back at the school during our Service Learning Awards last week. So that's our story. If you have questions?
Excellent.
Love to answer them.
Thank you. It's very impressive. And thank you, Mr. Lane, for spearheading this, because I know we talk about education and budget and classes and making sure that we're giving students what they need, but I do think these are the other pieces that students need to be successful in life and to give back, because you're going to do it. Once you start, you do it your whole life, and I think those are the things you take away that are sometimes are almost more meaningful for young adults and for adults, that we continue to do these things. So thank you very much for spearheading that.
I also love how it fostered the connection between you and the students as well, and how they got their friends involved. And it just was it during the school day that you did these trips, or was
No,
it
so
after
we did-
school?
Yeah,
or?
after school. Thursday, third Thursday of every month, 2 to 5.
Oh, nice.
It was 3 hours, yeah. It was great. We solved all the world's problems, right?
Anyone else? Lindsay?
Yeah, I love the program, and I'm really glad that you were able to come and talk to us. Particularly having the students here is always important. I wondered, Ms. Lane, is this a sort of a pilot program? What the plans are for the future, and was this also targeting just seniors? Then were able to join you, and so is there a way to think about other classes or other grade levels?
Yeah, I think that's something that we're going to talk about this summer in our administrative meetings. Mr. O'Connell also did it with the freshman class, but his was a little bit more focused. They only went to St. Anne's Food Bank and did some work there for an hour. I think they did it the third Friday of every month. So he got the freshmen involved, but I'm planning on doing it again next year with the freshmen
Awesome.
as they come up. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah.
And I just want to mention, Dr. Sorian and I were at the Service Award. It was a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, and so many students were being recognized for, from all levels through Shrewsbury High for doing this. So it's something that I think this high school's done for a long time, but it seems to be getting bigger and spreading out. Like you said, we're spreading into Worcester, going to other areas that really need assistance, especially now. It's, people with food insecurity and things. It's something that maybe you don't think of here, but there are a lot of people who do have that. So it's just great that we're doing things and young people are getting so invested so early. So thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Sawyer?
I want to congratulate the class of 2023 and Mr. Lane for organizing this work. It's really important work. I think that the way that you heard Kathy and Emily describe, they're very busy. They're very accomplished students. They do a lot in our high school community. But to take the opportunity to say, I'm willing to spend a few hours helping other people, and that's incredibly important work. And I think that it's part of what we are trying to provide to our students in terms of a full education. It's not just about academic accomplishment. It's about developing character and learning. I know Kathy mentioned, National Honor Society hours I needed to get in. So that might have been the hook, but then obviously you felt it was meaningful and you felt good about being able to provide a service for other people that made a difference for them. And that's what makes community strong. I think that, we hear a lot and see a lot about, and of course, throughout all of human history, everyone's thought the next generation coming along had issues, right, in terms of whatever, today's kids. I'm very proud that today's kids in Shrewsbury are students who give back to the community and who give of themselves and are learning the lessons of what makes a strong community by being willing to serve and help do things that benefit others who are in need. I think it speaks a lot about the character of our students and their values. So I'm very proud of the class of 2023. And so before we give a recognition that our students will accept on behalf of the class. I think we have kind of a full house tonight. How about a round of applause for the class of 2023? And this award's a big deal. I mean, the Youth of the Year for all the Worcester area collectively by the class of 2023. But Kathy and Han Emily, if you'd be so kind as to come up and receive a couple of certificates on behalf of the class and shake the committee's hand, I would like to honor you. And again, thanks to Mr. Lane for organizing and leading this. Of course. Come on up with me.
Congratulations.
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 Awesome job. It's made out to the class, so we have to figure out a way to display it. Congratulations again, okay. It's made out to the class, so Mr. Lane, everybody.
Okay, and following that, in another impressive area that we like, this is one of our favorite parts of the year as well. We will be recognizing the 10 senior students with the highest grade point averages in their class. So we will have Mr. Bazidlo. Are you coming up for this, or no? Sure, if you can. And Dr. Sawyer, I'll turn it over to the two of you.
Sure. Well, I think our student's going to be speaking at the standing mic, so maybe
Okay.
we'll let Mr. You want to start us off, Mr. Bazillo? Just give us a
few
little
words.
Sure. Well,
summary
first
of
of all,
our
thanks for
students
having
here.
us tonight. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase some of the really talented students of the class of 2023. When you hear their biographies and their accomplishments, it's gratifying as probably as a school committee member, community members, but the principal of the high school, knowing how well they did and how accomplished they are and the good they'll do beyond our community. And hopefully carry on the values and the traits that we've continued to refine within their own values and beliefs. So this is a great group of students. They're very, again, really, really smart, but really engaged, dynamic, and thoughtful, empathetic, caring, and kind. So it's a fantastic group. You hear they're going to some really high-powered schools as well. Their academics are great, but they're just better people. So I want to congratulate them and their families. I know they couldn't do it without the support of their families. So congratulations. I'll turn it over to Dr. Sawyer. So thanks for having us tonight.
Thank you. As the rain comes down, so there's a little bit of background noise. As Ms. Fritz mentioned, we have a tradition of honoring the 10 students with the highest grade point averages. And we have lots and lots of other students in the senior class, of course, who by mere fractions are beyond this. But this is the tradition we've had and we've continued. And I think you will see that these students are not only accomplished academically, but with lots of different other areas in terms of their co-curriculars and their service to their fellow students and their community. What we will do this evening is I will read a brief biography that was created by the school counselor, what many of us know as guidance counselors, to give a sense of the students' accomplishments, not all of them, because we'd be here probably for much longer, but for some highlights of their accomplishments. And then after I read that short bio, that student will be invited up to the microphone to make some brief comments. We'll do that for each of the 10 students, and then we'll ask them all to come up and receive a token of appreciation from the district. We'll do a quick photo, and then we will move forward. So, without further ado, these are our top 10 students in the senior class in alphabetical order and by last name. And our first student that we'll honor is Nicole Aredes. Nicole is an exceptionally talented student who makes the most of her opportunities both in and out of the classroom. Nicole has spent her high school career balancing our most rigorous course offerings with several part-time jobs, academic enrichment, and extracurricular activities. Nicole's dedication to her studies is reflected in her appointment to the National Honor Society, Math National Honor Society, and as the current vice president of the National Latin Honor Society. She serves as the co-captain of the Shrewsbury High School quiz team and has represented Shrewsbury High School twice in the high school quiz show final competitions televised on WGBH Boston. Throughout her time at Shrewsbury High, she has shared her enjoyment of crocheting by joining the Needlework Club. Outside of school, she volunteers at the Teen Room in the Shrewsbury Public Library. She holds a job at a local entertainment center and is an active member of her family. Next fall, Nicole will be attending the University of Massachusetts Amherst Honors College with a major in civil engineering. So let's have a round of applause for Nicole, who will come up tonight.
Okay, thank you for having me here today. About 13 years ago, my family moved to Shrewsbury specifically so that I could have better educational opportunities. They heard that Shrewsbury was one of the best districts in the area, and now, 13 years later, I'm happy to say they were correct. My time at Shrewsbury Public Schools has been overwhelmingly positive, and I feel so privileged to be graduating from this district. I really feel like I have been challenged to grow, not just educationally, but socially and emotionally as well. At Shrewsbury, there really is a place for everyone. Thank you to the school committee for fostering such an environment and providing me with the amazing opportunities that come along with the Shrewsbury education. Throughout my 13 years in Shrewsbury, I have met so many amazing educators and staff. To Ms. Finneran, Mrs. Beaupre, Mr. Bellimer, Mr. Cobb, Mrs. Yellen, and Mr. Collins, thank you for teaching me lessons that will stick with me forever, inside and outside of the classroom. There are so many moments where you have all inspired me to be a better version of myself. The hard work you teachers put in to go above and beyond does not go unnoticed, at least by me. Finally, I want to thank my family for always pushing me to follow my passions. Thank you to my dad for giving me an unstoppable work ethic. Thank you to Steve for inspiring me to be confident in everything I do. Thank you to my grandparents for truly embodying unconditional love. Thank you, Natalie, for being my best friend and telling me when to chill out. Most importantly, thank you to my mom for teaching me to be independent and never settle for less than what I'm capable of. I wouldn't be here without you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Nicole. The next student we're honoring is Sohani Curtis. Sohani is an incredibly accomplished young woman in and out of the classroom. She is a curious and self-motivated student. She has a love for learning new material and is excited for all the possibilities that come with new information. She's challenged herself over the years by taking a demanding course schedule. Through her success, she has been able to become a member of the Tri-M, French, and National Honor Societies. Outside of the classroom, Sohani has been involved with ballet, tutoring, playing the double bass, and volunteering throughout the community. One of her proudest accomplishments has been serving as an ambassador for the Woo Serves program. Volunteering has really opened her eyes and created this desire to help make a positive impact on someone's life. Sohani will be attending Williams College in the fall and plans to study political economics and biology. So we have Sohani come forward, please.
Hi everyone. First of all, I just wanted to say how honored I am to be here today and to be recognized. I want to start off by giving thanks to the school committee, as I've had such an incredible experience in the Shrewsbury public school system, and it couldn't have been that way without the help and generosity of the school committee and all the opportunities provided by you all. I wanted to point out the music program in particular, as all of the after-school groups available and performance opportunities have been very memorable for me as a musician and have helped to create so many amazing musicians in general. I also want to thank all of my teachers. I don't think there has been a single teacher I've had a negative experience with. They've all been incredible. I've especially loved having class with Mr. Collins, Mr. Brown, Dr. Duggan, and in particular, I wanted to mention my French teacher, Madame Duffy, as she's been a wonderful support system and teacher for the past 3 years that I've had her. Mr. Garth, who was my sophomore history teacher and helped me to approach history and learning from very unique perspectives. And going back to the start of elementary school, I want to thank Mrs. Kelly and Mrs. Frankian, who gave me my first impressions of the Shrewsbury school system, all of which were extremely positive. I remember going out on the nature trail frequently and journaling the different types of plants and bugs, and I think it's so important for kids to have exciting and hands-on experiences like that in their learning, and those are memories I'll never forget. Of course, I also want to thank my family for supporting me all these years in my learning and never doubting me when things have been tough. Once again, thank you all for this recognition. I'm truly honored, and thank you for helping to form such a wonderful school system with wonderful educators and programs.
Thank you, Sahani. Our next student is Aditi Dosi. Aditi derives joy and happiness through learning. She always tries to look at the positive side of life and keeps moving forward regardless of what obstacles present themselves. Aditi is driven and focused on her future of studying medicine. She's very passionate about all things biology. Her counselor has been very impressed with her desire to learn and her level of maturity. She remains humble and treats everyone with kindness. She's one of the most genuine students that this counselor has had the pleasure of working with, and she's earned a number of academic as well as extracurricular recognitions. The following are just a few examples: National Qualifier for Speech and Debate, Presidential Service Award, finalist at the SIVA International Dance Competition, finalist for the Regeneron Science and Engineering Fair, recipient of the Dartmouth Book Award, and recipient of the Seal of Biliteracy with distinction in Spanish. Aditi will be attending Tufts University in the fall, where she plans to study pre-medicine. Aditi, please come.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so honored to be here today. First, I'd like to thank the school committee for providing me with all the opportunities I've had as a Shrewsbury Public Schools student. I've been attending these schools since I've been in preschool, and I'm so grateful for all the classes and extracurriculars I've been able to pursue. Next, I would like to thank my parents. They've always been there to support me and care for me. I would like to thank my brother, who has never hesitated to help me when I need it. And of course, I'd like to thank all my teachers, who have all been so kind and dedicated. I'd like to give a special shout out to Miss Satterfield, who taught me the importance of giving back. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi. Our next student is Alia Hatham. What makes Alia stand out amongst her peers is her genuine kindness and generosity. Teachers have applauded her friendliness and encouragement of others in the classroom all 4 years of her high school career. She notices the small things and goes out of her way to personalize her interactions, ranging from personalized gifts to her everyday conversations. Academically, Alia is a very strong student and is part of multiple honor societies, including the National Honor Society, Chinese, English, and Tri-M honor societies. Outside of the school day, Alia is very passionate about music and spending time with her family. Her sense of adventure and travel with her family have helped her find a passion of hers, helping others in need. She volunteers her time at the United Way of Central Massachusetts, where she's an ambassador to the Woo Serves program. Alia can also be found serving her community at Girls Inc. in Worcester. She's a difference maker, and we all cannot wait to see what she's going to accomplish in her future. She will be attending Northeastern University and is undecided at this time on her major. Please welcome Alia to the
Thank you so much for having me here. And I really mean it when I say I did not expect to be here. I wrote a few things down because people who know me know that I'm very forgetful. So thank you so much to my family, of course. My mom's here with me. And a special thanks to my sister, who's always been my biggest supporter. And I wouldn't be who I am today without her. And of course, I'm going to be thanking a lot of my teachers, starting with Miss Finneran, who helped me understand the importance of time management, something I still struggle with today. Miss Heel, who shares my love for calligraphy and pugs. Mr. Brocky, who opened my eyes to environmental science and sustainability, which is something I really hope to pursue in the future. Miss Palazzo, who's honestly been reforming my views of education, how we shouldn't be putting too much pressure on kids and their performance and their grades. And finally, all my choir teachers, Miss Fallis, Mr. Clark, Mr. Locmardo especially, who's been a big supporter of mine. And I forgot someone who isn't with us here today, but she's always been someone who, she's been probably the person who I can talk to the most in the past. I don't know how many years I've had her. It was gonna be 5, but last thing that she told us is never give up on your dreams, you know? She is the person who would come to me, or I'd come to her when I needed a hug or just anything. And that's Yellow Shi. And I think my biggest regret is not telling her I loved her more. But other than that, finally, I'd love to thank the school committee for all the programs that we've had, especially music and Chinese are definitely my most impactful moments. But thank you.
Our next student is Elena Lee. One of the things that to admire most about Elena is her varied interests outside of academics. Elena loves the creative process and enjoys pursuits like origami, clay sculptures, playing piano, and building keyboards from scratch. Her teachers agree that Elena is a problem solver who thrives on conceptualizing topics. Her acumen has been recognized by membership in multiple honor societies, National Honor Society, Math, Secretary of the Latin Honor Society, and an officer in the English Honor Society. As a junior, Elena received the Cornell Book Award. In 12th grade, Elena earned the Seal of Biliteracy in Latin and recently received the award for Most Outstanding Student in Latin. Additionally, Elena earned distinction as an Advanced Placement Scholar and has been recognized for outstanding achievement in world civilizations and the Most Outstanding Student in English. On top of Elena's academic achievements, she's also captain of the math team and a member of the varsity swim team. She's excited to pursue her studies further at Carnegie Mellon University next fall, studying electrical and computer engineering. Elena, please come forward.
First, I'd like to thank Dr. Sawyer and the school committee for this amazing opportunity. Thank you for all the behind-the-scenes work that you all do. In 9th grade, I thought that becoming a high schooler was the coolest thing ever. There was infinitely more freedom and versatility than middle school. But last week, I sat in my room reading the letter that my 9th grade self had written to my current self. And one of the lines said, "Elena, I hope that becoming a high school freshman is the least cool thing you do in these next 4 years." And true to my word, throughout these last few years, I've experienced so many more cool things. But without the countless educators, family, and friends that have supported me, I wouldn't have made it to where I am here today. Thank you to Mrs. Moynihan, my AP Chem teacher, for showing me the simple joys of science. It's thanks to you that I've rediscovered my love of experimentation. Thank you to Ms. Busso, my AP Stats teacher. You were the spark that lit my way through senior year. I'll carry your advice with me to college and beyond, and I'll always strive to take the road less traveled. Thank you to my swim coach, Mrs. Mulcahy. Your gentleness and patience helped me come back to swimming for an amazing senior year. Thank you to Mr. Bellimer, my Latin teacher of 6 years. It's truly an understatement to describe how beloved Mr. Bellimer is to our language learning community, and especially to many of my peers here tonight. Your genuine passion for Latin has helped me fall in love with the language and culture over and over again. And finally, how could I forget my family? Thank you to my mother and father for your constant support and love. Thank you to my brother, Robbie. 11 years ago, you stood right here, and I was in the audience. Since then, I've learned so many things from you, and it's a rare and immense honor to be the little sister of such an amazing person. And thank you to my sister-in-law, Cindy. You're probably the coolest role model I've had the privilege of knowing. Thank you for the late-night essay revisions and journaling sessions and book recommendations. I wish I could go on and on about all the wonderful people in my life. For the sake of time, I won't, but I think it's truly a testament to how nurturing and providing our community is, from K through 12. Thank you again to the school committee, and thank you all.
Our next student is Jamie Lee. Jamie is an exceptional student, and her teachers consistently remark on her depth of knowledge and intelligence in the classroom. Outside of the classroom, Jamie is a varsity swimmer for the high school and participated in a club team as well. She serves as treasurer for both National Latin Honor Society and the Tri-Am Honor Society, and is also an accomplished musician. Jamie can play the violin, piano, bass, guitar, and she sings. She shares her many musical talents with our United Sound program, serving as co-president. When she's not creating beautiful music, Jamie can be found volunteering as a tutor. Jamie is a dynamic and passionate student who will attend Boston University in the fall, where she plans to major in classical studies. Jamie, please come forward.
Hi. Firstly, I'd like to thank the school committee for giving me so many wonderful opportunities, both inside and outside the classroom. Extracurriculars, such as the school swim team and United Sound, have shaped who I am as a person. I'd also like to thank a few of my teachers who have made an impact on my life. Mrs. Luby, my 4th grade teacher at Spring Street School. She was probably the first teacher that I really connected with, and she always encouraged me to keep reading more, to keep learning more. Mr. Brown, my APUSH teacher last year, he was always there for me. He was always there to listen whenever I had a problem or just something small that I wanted to complain about. He was always there to listen for me. And Mr. Bellimer, my Latin teacher who I've known since 7th grade. It's not normal for my middle school teachers to also be my high school teachers, but Mr. Bellimer was always there. He was always there sharing his love of Latin. And thanks to him, I discovered my passion towards classics. And, well, I'm going to be majoring in college, so he really changed my life. And, of course, thank you to my mom and dad for always being so supportive of me and my academic ventures. You've always pushed me to be my best and encouraged me to branch out and try new things. And once again, thank you, everyone.
Our next student is Charlie Prince. Charlie is an extraordinary student with a curious, reflective, and analytical mindset. Charlie doesn't shy away from learning new things or taking on challenges. His teachers have remarked on their appreciation for his ability to look for deeper meaning in what he learns, ability to fully grasp nuanced ideas with great clarity, and determination for finding new ways to challenge himself. Charlie's curious nature is also reflected in his extracurricular activities, such as when he started volunteering for the Worcester County Food Bank and other community food pantries after learning about and researching food insecurity. Charlie tutors other students as part of the National French Honor Society, participates in cross-country and on the track team, and is the vice president of the National Honor Society. His next step will be enrolling at Case Western University, where he plans to major in cognitive science. Charlie, please come forward.
Good evening, and thank you for having us. I'd first like to thank my parents. I wouldn't be where I am today without their support and guidance. Whenever I'm unsure about something or doubt my abilities, I take solace in knowing that my family will always have my back. Not all students have such a supportive home environment, and I feel fortunate to be in the situation I'm in. I'd also like to thank the school committee for acknowledging us, as I couldn't have been successful without the strong school system the committee and our wider community have worked hard to cultivate. I remember that in 3rd grade, there were 30 people in my class, and although we made the best of it, it was a lot of kids for teachers to manage and support. But because our community passed an operational override, and another more recently, today our students thrive in normal class sizes. I feel grateful to live in a community that cares so deeply about its education system. While much of this growth came in the classroom, I've also benefited from participating in school athletics as a member of the cross-country and indoor and outdoor track teams. These teams have both challenged me with their competitive spirit and welcomed me with their inclusive culture, and I will cherish the memories I've made as an athlete and a teammate as I move on to college. I'd finally like to thank all the teachers and staff members who have guided me throughout my educational journey. Through 13 years as a Shrewsbury Public School student, I've never had a teacher who didn't care about my academic growth or personal well-being. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Burton and Mrs. Pryor, who have engaged me with their dynamic teaching and empathetic manner. Both these teachers have had me during pandemic years, and they've helped me to overcome the associated challenges, whether by providing resources for out-of-school learning or just a can-do attitude. I'd also like to thank Miss Meany, who helped me to come out of my shell and reminded me about the joy that learning can bring. I don't think I've ever had more fun than I did in her 7th grade classroom. And finally, I will always remember my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Gallagher, who, even with 30 students in her class, taught me countless life lessons. Thank you.
Our next student is John Q. John is the type of person who challenges himself with high standards, makes a sincere effort to help others, and has shown perseverance over the years to get where he is today. This is reflected in his academic work by taking 9 AP courses during his time at SHS and his continuous pursuit of musical prowess by improving his skills and attending competitions. He has been elected the class president since his sophomore year, has been a member of the Boston Philharmonic Youth Orchestra since 2017, and his current position is one of the fixed 4 stands in the first violin section among over 40 violinists in the orchestra. He was selected as a finalist in the 2022 Fidelity Investments Young Artist Competition at the Boston Pops. He participated in the United States National Chemistry Olympiad competition after self-studying chemistry in 2020. John was also a co-captain of the state champion SHS esports team. John will pursue a pre-med track when he attends Brown University in the fall. John, please come forward.
Hello. First of all, I am honored to be recognized by the school committee. I would like to thank my mother and father for being by my side for all my life and for always supporting every endeavor that I have taken. I would like to thank you, the school committee, for all the incredible times that I've had as a Shrewsbury Public Schools student. My time in extracurricular activities, such as the many clubs that I have tried and the inspirational teachers that I have met, have made me who I am. Specifically, my time in the music wing and also working together with Mr. Collins during math team have been a highlight of my high school career. I'd like to extend an additional thank you to Mr. Brown, the teacher of my AP US History class, for expanding my horizons and allowing me to grow as a learner and a person in the class. I would also like to thank Miss Meany, or as she is now known, Mrs. Slabine, for being an incredible role model and a source of joy during my time in middle school. Again, thank you very much for this recognition, and I wish everyone the best.
Our next student is Carlos Reyes. Carlos has consistently been an exceptional student while at SHS and excels academically, but he has a particular passion for math and computers. When he was growing up, his favorite toy was a calculator. He has maintained an impressive grade point average while balancing academics with extracurricular activities such as tutoring, teaching kids to code, performing and supporting the school play or musical, pursuing independent computing projects, and participating in the Research Science Network at Harvard Innovation Labs. Over the years, he's grown to become a resilient, persistent, and creative problem solver, receiving statewide recognition in math competitions and exploring the possibilities of machine learning. However, Carlos wants it to be known that his experience with being a member of the lighting crew in the Performing Arts Department has given him a new passion not related to academics. Carlos would like to thank his teachers in the Performing Arts Department for giving him that opportunity, and he's eager to continue his education at Purdue University next year. Carlos, please come forward.
Firstly, I'd like to say that I am very honored to be here, and I would like to thank the school committee for all the opportunities they've given me, especially in the music and theater departments, because I found a new lifelong passion through that, and I think it's really underappreciated what they do for our school. I'd also like to thank my family, my mom, my dad, my sister, my grandparents, and all the relatives who have helped me throughout my high school career, and I really don't think I could be here without their support. I'd like to thank my counselor, Mr. D, who's helped guide me through the process of high school and especially through applying for college. He helped make it a lot more comfortable for me to apply to college and find the right education for me. And then I'd like to thank my teachers. In the math department, I'd especially like to thank Mr. Collins, Mr. Moran, and Mrs. Pryor. I think that they have helped fuel my passion for math throughout my high school career. I'd also like to thank Miss Lindsay for an amazing freshman year English class, and I really don't think I'd have a passion for English without her support. And then I'd like to thank Mr. Lapamardo for all he's done for me in the music department and in the theater performances that I've participated in. He's definitely given me a passion for music that I would not have had without him. And lastly, I'd like to thank the class of 2023, all the students, the officers, the advisors, because I think that this class is one of the most amazing communities that I've ever had, and I wouldn't never be here without them. Thank you.
And the 10th student we're honoring this evening is William Wu. William is not only an outstanding student, leader, and entrepreneur, but is also a genuine, humble, and caring person. He cares for his family, friends, and the world around him. He has big, important ideas, and he is not afraid to put them into action. William is passionate about equity and fairness for all. William founded COVIDSchoolTracker.com and led a team to help track COVID cases in schools across the nation. As of today, the platform has been featured in the Washington Post's Extraordinary People series, and has been visited by people from 108 different countries. He's also a winner of the 2021 Congressional App Challenge for developing the platform Polynomo, which works to increase civic engagement, address political misinformation, and hinder political polarization. He's been on the Student Council for the past 4 years, during which he was treasurer for 2 years and is currently president. In this role, he has led town meetings alongside Mr. Bazidlo, the principal, organized fundraisers to meet community needs, and hosted school-wide events such as the Spirit Rally. And the Student Council has won the Gold Council of Excellence Award for the past 3 years. William has also been a successful student athlete as a member of the SHS swim team. He is an AP scholar, has consistently made the high honors list, and was a recipient of the Harvard Book Award. William will be entering Harvard University in the fall. William, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, I want to thank the school committee for having me here today and all the work that they do behind the scenes to ensure a great high school experience for everyone. I definitely want to thank my sister Athena, my mom, my dad, who have supported me through my life. My life and my high school experience would look a lot different if I didn't have their constant love, encouragement, and assistance. They were there to support me through my struggles and through my lows, and were there to also celebrate with me during my accomplishments and my highs. Nearly every teacher I've had, ranging from my first grade teacher, Miss Bauman, to the teachers I've had more recently, like Mr. Bellimer, Miss Palazzo, Mr. Collins, and Dr. Duggan, have all positively affected and inspired me in some sort of way. They have all given me great advice for my next steps and for the future, and have also helped me to find my passions. I also want to give a thank you to my student council advisor, Ms. Moisen. She has been with me for the past 4 years and has really helped me to grow as both a student and a person since freshman year. She has taught me so much and has helped me find a community here and has been there to support me and others no matter what was going on in her life. There are so many people who have helped me throughout the years, and I just want to say thank you to all of them. I'll continue looking up to all of them and continue to inspire, motivate, and support others the same way they have to me. Thank you.
Always so impressive. And the students can't see your families. You're going to see a lot of video when you get home, and they're probably going to send it out to your relatives to show you. But the smiles on their faces, they're all taking, pictures of it. So it's just always such an impressive evening for us as school committee members. Any comments or questions, Mr. Wedsey?
It really is the most wonderful time of the year for a school committee member in Shrewsbury, I have to say. And first off, congratulations to all of you. It's really an honor to be in your company. I know you're all thanking us, but for all that you've accomplished and all that you've shared. And I'm amazed at the multitasking that's going on here in addition to the high achievements in the classroom. You're all doing a ton of activities and extracurriculars outside of school, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment in addition to achieving the high academics that you're doing in the classroom. And I also really appreciate the recognition and the gratitude that you've all shown to the teachers that have been with you along the way from elementary right up through high school. It's just awesome to hear that, along with your families as well. So really, I mean, I think your success is what makes this a labor of love for all of us. And I want to just thank you all, not only just the students, but the teachers, the staff that have been with you throughout your academic journey, and especially the families, your families that are here tonight. This really means a lot to us that you're here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, tonight is absolutely one of the most awesome nights to be on the school committee. And you don't all show up for the budget hearings. I don't understand that, but this is just great. I think for the students, you really just blow me away with your poise and your grace and your choices and the ways you contribute to our community and clearly, the balancing, we hear about your social awareness and your inclusivity, your appreciation for others who've helped get you here or bring you along, but willingness to dive into new things. These are all the values that we want for all of our students, and so it certainly is incredibly rewarding for all of us. I want to just note something important. Many of you showed that appreciation and thanked us, right? And that's, while flattering and very nice, it's really tonight is to thank you, to say thank you for really, you epitomize who we want for all of our kids and what we hope for. You are, the greatness of what we are today and what we value and what we can be. And so, you said freshman year I'm going to be different than I am my senior year, and 4 years from now you're going to look back and keep going, right? The sky's the limit for all of you. And I have to just take a moment. Of course, our parents really demonstrating how important that parent-school partnership is to see success for kids. But as Mr. Wensky noticed, the number of you who recognized and appreciated our staff and what they have done for you, from first grade teachers to school counselors to coaches and on and on and on. And I think I hope that we have an opportunity to share back to all of them some of the things that you've all said tonight, because they're not all here. So I think sometimes it's easy to not feel appreciated in a classroom, I'm sure, often alone, and maybe don't have that chance to reflect about just how important our staff is to our 6,000 students. We have 10 of you here tonight, right? But we have a lot of kids in this district, and it's a really strong reminder of the incredible value that our staff bring and contribute back to all of you. So thank you for showing your appreciation, and come back and tell us where you are. Give us 4 more years. Come back.
Anyone else?
Congratulations to each one of you. What stuck with me is that not only did you get the grades and you did the community service and the extracurriculars, you did this during a pandemic too, when a lot of us were at home and this wasn't easy to do. And going through each of your bios, you made this look so easy. And I would echo what my colleagues say. I would love to know what each one of you is doing in 4 years. You are going to 10 different excellent schools with 10 different paths. And I think that's great, and I would love to know what you are doing, and good luck to each one of you.
And just a brief echo what all my colleagues have said, but just congratulations to all of you, and especially to your parents tonight. It's just such a proud moment, and to be able to share it with us, and we feel flattered to see all of you here tonight. So congratulations to you all.
Thank you. Dr. Sawyer?
I want to just congratulate all of our senior scholars once again for your really extraordinary accomplishments. On our homepage of our website is our vision for our students, our portrait of a Shrewsbury graduate. And there's about 6 years ago, there was a group of about 30 people. About half were educators from all across our school district. About half were parents who had all sorts of different professional and work backgrounds. And they spent a year looking at what does it mean for our students if they're going to go on and be successful in a 21st century environment. What are we looking for them? And they came up with 6 areas that we wanted to make sure we're really paying attention to. Critical thinking and content mastery, clearly you've made the grade, as you said, when it comes to that. Innovation, we heard lots of ways that you're doing innovative work and research and thinking about that even as young high school students. Resilience and focus, a lot of you spoke about the fact that the support you receive from your educators, from your families, really helped you be resilient, because not everything goes well all the time, for sure. And it takes that perseverance. And focus, especially during a time, as was mentioned, that some of your education was interrupted by the pandemic. So being able to maintain focus on your goals and the work that needed to be accomplished. Collaboration and communication. All of you obviously are involved in so many things that require teamwork, that require you to communicate with other students, with faculty and staff, with the community. This isn't just about getting great grades on a test and somehow that makes you a successful student. You're all well-rounded in that sense. Global citizenship and engagement, understanding your local and state and national and then also international context in a world that's continuously shrinking, and being engaged citizens. And that's something that I can tell all of you are going to bring forward into your futures. You're not going to take whatever you're learning and you're going to make sure that the community benefits as a result of that. And finally, leadership, which was a little bit of debated among the study group because didn't want to feel like, well, maybe it's a lot of pressure that all kids are supposed to be a leader. But they ultimately essentially define leadership as anything you do to positively influence someone else's success. And clearly, when you look at your bios and your accomplishments, it wasn't only about you, it was about helping your team, helping your fellow students, helping your school community and the community at large, and doing that in a way, whether that was quietly or in a very overt way, being leaders for our school community. So I think you epitomize the vision that we have for our students, and so it's really a pleasure and a privilege for us to be able to recognize you this evening. So with that, why don't we give them one more round of applause. We do have a token of recognition for each of you, and would ask that you come up, shake the committee's hand, receive that, and then we'll have you come up and stand here for a photo. So it doesn't matter what order you come up in, come on up and shake the committee's hand and receive your award, please.
Let's start right on this side. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, William. Well done. All right. All right. We got Jamie, right? All right. Excellent.
Congratulations.
Well done. All right. Congratulations. Sahani. Love that you mentioned the nature trail. They're going to be very happy to hear that. All right. Charlie, well done. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And
Congratulations.
awesome job. Congratulations. Don, congratulations. Way to go. And Carlos, congratulations. All right, if you guys can all come kind of line up in front here, and we'll sort of get among you, and we'll get a photo here.
Do you want to stay? Do you want to go around? How do you want?
We need help.
We can go on the other side
We'll
of
go
the
on the
table.
other
Why don't we
side.
do that?
Yeah. Get with them.
All right. Good. You know how it feels. You know, paparazzi. Right?
We'll let everybody exit. Okay, all right, so we're going to move on to our next time scheduled appointment. And next, we're going to have an update on the middle level unified programming. We have Ms. Belcito, the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Ms. Courtney Delaney, she's the Health and Physical Education teacher at Sherwood Middle School, and Mr. Jason Ponticelli, he's a Social Studies teacher at Oak Middle School, along with a group of students who will be presenting to us this evening. So if everybody would like to come forward.
Guys, come on. Have some chairs. Is it all right if we
You can rearrange.
However works.
Yeah, however, yeah.
That's great. You guys here, take a seat. Yeah, you can What do we have? We have 8 of us, correct?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Bald head's gonna block the screen. Well, thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for coming.
My name is Jason Pomacelli. I've had the honor of working in the district here for 19 years. And the exceptional honor of working with these fine young adults, as well as Miss Delaney, who's also a young adult. That's quite all right. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Danielle Silopakis.
Hi, I'm Richard Kimball.
Hi, I'm Courtney Delaney.
Hi, I'm Jaden.
Hi, I'm El Caravo.
Liv, Nolan.
Luke McCray.
And so we have the prestigious honor of being part of the Middle School Unified Program. And all 8 of us here have been part of these programs for a while now. Some of us dating back to 5th grade, which is really wonderful. And as you are well aware, our season was cut short in 5th grade due to the COVID pandemic. And yet, to use a basketball pun, we rebounded in 2021, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, man. And we're able to have a wonderful first season, which was really great. With Courtney and I were able to have a team of, oh boy, it was almost 40 of us on the team. And so, almost right away we had aspirations of expanding the program. And so, thanks to Mrs. Burak, our principal at Oak, John Kelly, principal at Sherwood, Pat Collins over in the business office, Meg Belacito, Patty Waterhouse. We were able to expand that program to 2 teams.
Nice.
So we put together a presentation for you guys tonight that we'd like to review with you. And then we can open it up even to some questions, if that's okay with you guys.
Excellent.
Dr. Sawyer, are you driving?
I'm driving, just let me know when you want to advance.
Jaden, you were going to read this first slide for us?
Yep.
Right up on the screen.
We had a very successful second full unified basketball season at the middle school level. We had so much interest, we were able to field 2 basketball teams this season. Following the lead of SHS, we had a blue team and a gold team. Both teams were comprised of students from in grades 5 through 8.
This year, the Special Olympics and the MIAA were able to help 40 different middle school schools in Massachusetts participate in unified basketball season. We were told that our Channel 5 news coverage and our Channel 5 eye opener helped get more schools involved in unified basketball.
Here's a picture of our blue team this year. Again, as Jaden told us, our teams were comprised of students in grades 5 through 8, which was really special. It was really nice to have some of the older students, which that's you guys, be role models for some of the younger kids, right? And that's something that I think you guys got them hooked, and you guys were able to help be leaders on the court and off the court as well. So this is our blue team. That was my team. Love it.
And this is our gold team. Again, students from both Sherwood and Oak. And it was really great to have 2 teams this year and have so many kids show so much interest. Each team had a home game and an away game. The blue team hosted Northbridge Middle School and traveled by bus to Ashland Middle School. The gold team hosted Ashland and then traveled by bus to
Manilkin Middle School in Northborough. It was the inaugural season for all 3 of those schools, and they were inspired by our program and will be creating booster clubs of their own, much like ours.
The Booster Club, which was started by both Coach Pomacelli and I back in 2022.
was handed over to be facilitated by Miss Carrie Davis and Miss Brianna Biseglia, both on 7 golds. So they helped run that this year, which was very successful. And the Booster Club helped create over 50 posters, one for each of our unified participants, which was displayed at Oak for their games, Sherwood, and then eventually brought up to the high school for our blue and gold game. And the Booster Club also helped to sell Shrewsbury Unified bracelets to help raise funds for our program. And our season ended with our first ever blue and gold game at the high school on April 4th, and it was an amazing event with a really great outcome.
And we'd like to share our last Channel 5 eye opener. We, we'll sign autographs afterwards.
We are the Shrewsbury Middle School Unified basketball team. Go blue and go gold!
Go, go, go! How about that great wake-up call from Shrewsbury Middle School's unified basketball team? Nice job. The annual Blue Gold game coming up.
It is next week, April 4th, at Shrewsbury High School, starting at 6 p.m. And if you have never checked out a unified basketball game or any of the unified sports, you really have to, because this right here, this is what sports is all about.
Yeah, the joy, the pure joy of getting out there and be a member of a team.
Yeah, they bring the crowds too.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah, see you.
Yeah,
it's fun.
So we do bring the crowds. Dr. Sawyer will attest to a potential fire code that we made broken a couple of years ago, which is why we moved our blue and gold game to the high school. We had plenty of room. It was awesome. Richard, did you want to talk about
Sure.
these?
These are some pictures from our Oak and Sherwood Unified Value season at the middle school level.
And so as you can see, we had great participation, we had great fans, our cheerleaders helped us out. You can even see some of the posters in the lower left that our Booster Club made for us. They were absolutely phenomenal. We had parents, we had fans taking pictures of them. Some of the students signed them. It really was, it was really special. And this is pictures of our Unified Booster Club. So as Courtney shared, Terry Davis and Brianna Biseglia were able to facilitate that club this year. As Courtney and I had a couple of more practices to be invested in this year with the extra team. And honestly, we couldn't have been as successful as we were without the Unified Booster Club. They were really able to rally support. At Oak Middle School, students stream our announcements in the morning via video to all the classrooms, so they kind of promote that almost every day. Made posters for the game. As Courtney said, sold bracelets, which were fantastic. As I was telling Mrs. Baez today, she asked me, do we have any more? I said, no, we are sold out. But luckily up at the Colonial Shop at SHS, they sell them as well.
The Unified Social Club, started by Aaron Sadovan and Jason Ponticelli, met on the first Thursday of every month. It was an opportunity for students of all abilities to hang out and have fun. Some of the highlights included decorating holiday and Valentine's Day cookies, playing Mario Kart, playing board games, and making arts and crafts.
Liv, did you want to mention anything that we did during Unified Social Club?
The cookies.
I'll tell you right now, Miss Nolan over there, if she has a bakery one day, it's very successful. She's an artist. See Richard decorating a cookie. I don't think that cookie lasted long though, right, Richard? And we are playing some games, some board games with some friends. And then one of Jaden always was really happy when we bring in the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
Holy cow. And that guy played Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Sorry, Richard. So, yeah, that. Sure.
The Sherwood Unified Social, the Sherwood Social Club, Unified Club, Social, was created to give more students of all ability and opportunity to practice in after school fun and just get together. They met on the second Thursday of the month from 3 to 3:45 p.m. after school. We like to play games, a game, and do crafts of some sort. Made a better of trucks for Thanksgiving. Create a band. What? He did. No way to hang in window display. White eagles and what? Penguins. And made Valentine's to share building. What? Bubbles are always a hit.
So the Unified Social Club started, inspired by the one that we have at Oak Middle School, but Linda Berard over at Sherwood, who's one of the nurses at Sherwood, took the lead on this one. She did a wonderful job over there, and it was very, very popular. So she had written that they're working on giving all students more of a voice and a presence in the school from a day-to-day basis, doing chalk art in front of Sherwood, so drawing pictures and having uplifting and positive messages for students to see on their way into school. They were able to display their projects every month, which was really cool, in that main hallway display case. Next year, she's looking to grow the club even more, increase the club's voice by having students record some announcements as well with Mr. Kelly. And they're able to use or take advantage of an SEF grant, which is phenomenal, to purchase a parachute, kites, and active games. And unfortunately, guys, the parachute was not to jump out of a plane. The old school, like an elementary school, remember that? That parachute came out during gym. You knew it was going to be a good bet.
We also have tentative plans to be part of the first ever middle school unified kickball or soccer league with other area middle schools. We plan on continuing our proud tradition of being Special Olympics unified champion schools at Oak and Sherwood.
In order to be a unified champion school, schools must provide/create the following: inclusive youth leadership opportunities, opportunities for youth of all abilities to become agents of change within our middle schools. Students, student council, and all clubs offer these opportunities. Richard, you were student council, right? Student council, right?
Yes. Whole school engagement, facilitating socially inclusive school climate and engaging the entire school community. Support of unified activities as well as involvement in unified physical education. Unified sports. Students develop athletic skills while forming friendships, fostering respect for each other, and becoming leaders on and off the court/field.
The Mark Fittrich Foundation is a charitable organization that helps enhance the lives of children and adults with disabilities and or special needs through and with the focus on sports and sports education. We were so thankful to form a partnership with this foundation thanks to Ann Fidrich and her daughter Jess. They were guests at our away game at Melican Middle School and were also honored during halftime at our blue versus gold game at Shrewsbury High School.
So I had reached out to the Fidrich Foundation. I found them online, and I was, Dr. Sawyer, I'm sure you're aware of Mark. You might remember Mark Fidrich. He's a great pitcher and from Northborough. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but his legacy is the Mark Fidrich Foundation. So this wonderful foundation, as Jaden read, helps people of all ages, really of all abilities, make those bonds through sports. And it really seemed, in my mind, a perfect match with what we do with our unified programs here in Shrewsbury. So I said, what the heck? I reached out to the foundation, and Ann Fidrich gave me a call about a half hour later. We had a wonderful conversation. We invited her to a game. She's right there in Northborough at Milliken Middle School with her daughter Jess and her grandson David. And they had a great time, and she said that she would like to donate some money to the program. So, well, that's wonderful. And much to our astonishment, a couple of days later, we received notification that they were donating $5,000 to this program. And after my job, picked my job up before, I immediately got on the phone and gave, thanked her, and then we invited her to the game on April 4th, and we honored them at halftime. With tears in their eyes, they accepted the card that our players made for them, and it was really a magical moment. It was really great. It's something that we're going to have this partnership for a long time to come. So we're very, very grateful for their support. So, thank you very much. Do you have any questions for any of our students?
Sure, thank you. Great presentation from all the students especially. Questions or comments?
I just wanted to thank you all. What a great presentation. It's just so wonderful to see the program expanding. And we just love to see that even more activities are getting included. I think it's wonderful. And I think you're definitely hitting the mark on whole school engagement, for sure. When you see the packed gyms, it's just wonderful to see how all of the students are rallying around the unified teams and supporting them. So great presentation. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Mr. Winston?
Yeah, I agree with Ms. Boucher. First off, congratulations to all of you for presenting today. You're outstanding presenters, and thank you to Courtney and Jason as well for the time that you put into this. Such a great program, and it is great to see it expanding year after year. We're really kind of veterans in this space, right? I mean, with the sports, but also we see unified sound, and it's just awesome to see. It's such a proud moment for this town. So thank you for all that you presented tonight and all that you're doing for the club. Thank you so much.
I'd love to ask a question, if I can, of some of the students. So you're all in 8th grade, right? So you're all going to the high school next year. Very exciting. And I wonder if any of you want to participate in anything unified at the high school. There's a lot of unified stuff going on at the high school. So I wonder what maybe any of you might be interested in.
Probably, I know my sister tried to do unified track, so I think I want to follow her steps and do that.
Awesome.
Unified basketball at the high school.
Good one.
I'd love to do unified basketball in high school too.
Awesome.
I'd probably do unified basketball again too.
Probably.
Don't let Liv fool you. Lovely smile. She is a fierce competitor. Right? Yes.
Awesome.
I'd probably also do unified basketball.
Nice.
Awesome.
If I could just add real quick, I apologize to interject. So, Luke, Danny, and Elle, Richard, and Jaden, and actually, Liv, you were absent that day, but earlier this year, it was this year, it seems like it was so long ago, we had the opportunity to go over to Sherwood Middle School and speak at community meetings both for the 5th and 6th grade.
Nice.
These guys are seasoned vets when it comes to presentation. They did a phenomenal job and really helped inspire the 5th and 6th grade to get involved in unified programs at Sherwood. So it's really, I'm so impressed that these young adults were able to be role models in that fashion. So I can't be more proud of all of you here. So I want to thank you for that. Awesome stuff.
I think, Mr. Ponticelli, in addition, not only are you all showing incredible leadership, right, and for our younger students, I'm sure you're going to do it when you get to the high school. You also, many of you have been here since 7 o'clock and showed incredible patience and balancing. But I also wonder if you noticed or heard, we had a couple of our seniors who are graduating who were talking about some ways they had been involved in Unified. And so to see how this has really encompassed all of our students is so gratifying. So thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. I just want to repeat what Ms. Boucher said. It's so nice to see this cascading down from the high school all the way through to Mr. Ponticelli, Ms. Delaney. It's a lot of time and effort on top of your jobs, so thank you very much. And when we were talking about our next strategic goals and priorities for the next 5 years, the word all, and we're like, well, what does all mean? All means all. So when we're inclusive, it's for everyone. And that's what we do as a district, and we're doing a lot better at it, I think, and we're making sure everybody has social connections and abilities to be together and learn together, socialize and play together. And I know Mr. Wensky and I are both on the SEF board, and when this grant request came in, it was a no-brainer. There was like no discussion. It was like, this is a yes. I mean, these are the things that organization wants to keep funding because it's just immensely makes us so proud as a community. So thank you so much. And I'll have Dr. Sawyer have his comments, but then we have to vote as any gifts over 5,000, we will have to vote. So turn to Dr. Sawyer first.
That was good. Thank you to all of you for a great presentation. Thank you for your participation in the Unified program. It's made our middle schools better. Your work has made our middle schools better. I want to thank Ms. Delaney and Mr. Ponticelli for their leadership and coaching, all of your colleagues who helped with the Unified clubs and supporting the program all throughout. I also want to thank Ms. Belcito, who's over here in the audience. When she came to our district a number of years ago, she set out to build a partnership with Special Olympics and start to because she had a vision that we could become unified champion schools. We started with the high school, then the middle schools. Actually, Parker Road Preschool became a unified champion school, and we are pretty confident that by the end of the spring, all of our elementary schools will also be unified champion schools, and we will become a unified school champion school district with Special Olympics. I think that the level, just as was referred to, the level of inclusion has increased dramatically in a variety of ways as a result of these, as well as some other programs and approaches that have been happening under Ms. Belcito and her team. And I think it's just been contagious in the best way. So I'm really glad that you're going to plan on continuing to participate. We should give a shout out. I know today was the state Unified Track Champions. I know we had a contingent from Shrewsbury High School who was in Natick today. They've had a great season, and I think this is going to continue to grow because along with our foundations courses and United Sound, there are so many opportunities for students, all kinds of students, all of our students, to participate in some great opportunities with one another, and it just makes our school community stronger. So we're really proud of you. We thank you, and we look forward to hearing what you do next. So maybe at this time, we can vote to accept the $5,000, and then it would be great if our students come up and shake the hands of the school committee just so we can say thank you in person.
You can do it.
Thank you to Mr. Ponticelli for reaching out for that grant. I mean, it's any donations that we get that just helps us, helps our budget, so thank you very much for taking the time to do that. So may I have a motion to accept a donation of $5,000 from the Mark Fidrich Foundation to be used to support Shrewsbury Middle School's unified programs?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. If the students would like to come up. Come up on this. Great job.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So next on our agenda, we are going to have a report from the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee, or CPAC. And we have Ms. Belcito here, again, Assistant Superintendent for Student Services. Ashley Philandes, she is a CPAC President, and Charlene Doherty, she is the CPAC Treasurer. Welcome.
Thank you. What an awesome meeting to be at. I'm glad we picked this date. So great. I'm not sure how we're going to follow things that just went on, but thank you for having us, and for all of the work on Unified. That was so awesome. So glad we got to hear that. So thank you for having us. I'm Ashley Philandes here with Charlene Doherty. We are two of the board members this year for the CPAC, in addition to Laura Cronin and Katie Poirier, who unfortunately couldn't be here with us tonight, but have certainly contributed just as much to all of our activities this year. So this is our CPAC board. I don't know which one I should look at. I'm gonna go with this one. So for this year, and I want to take the opportunity to thank Colleen, Jill, and Blake, who led the CPAC for many years. I was fortunate enough to work with them for the last few of those, although many of those were kind of COVID years. But they did so much in terms of getting the CPAC organized, providing opportunities for our families, and they also were incredibly supportive and available to us as we kind of transitioned. They had a lot of things in place that we were able to just kind of take over, which made our lives a lot easier. So we really, really appreciate them and all the work that they did. All right, so what is a CPAC? So it stands for Special Education Parent Advisory Council. This is just pulled from the Federation for Children with Special Needs website. They kind of are the hub for CPACs in Massachusetts. They provide a lot of resources and guidance and trainings and things like that. So CPACs are a requirement for all districts in Massachusetts. And duties include things like advising the school committee and the district on matters pertaining to special education, education and safety of students with disabilities, meeting regularly with school officials, things of that nature. And often CPACs kind of function in a we provide, support group type of opportunities for our families as well. So that's a lot of what we do. CPACs are self-governing bodies, create their own bylaws, and is different from a PTO or a school council that's kind of building-based and instead covers the district. And CPAC membership is open to, we primarily see parents and caregivers of students with disabilities, but is open to really any interested residents as well. MASPAC membership, so that is the Massachusetts Association of Special Education Parent Advisory Councils, and we just wanted to thank the district for continuing to fund our membership in that, which is really much appreciated. It gives us access to, again, some of those trainings and support and resources through the Federation, kind of a more direct line. There's somebody there who does a lot of work around CPACs and gives us a lot of access to that person, networking meetings, additional trainings. There's a Facebook group, listserv, that kind of thing. As well as some registrations for their conference and additional workshops, things like that. So we really appreciate that the district continues to allow us to have that membership. It really does help us out a lot. Mission statement is kind of more like a slogan than a mission statement, I think, right? But I think what sort of drives us is the idea that we believe in the power of parents working together to make an impact, which we most certainly do. And it's so wonderful to work with so many parents in this district who are just phenomenal. So we are a volunteer organization, again, made up of primarily parents and caregivers, but we are open to residents as well. And our CPAC, some CPACs are registered as nonprofits, and ours is one of those, not all, but we are, thanks to our former board members who kind of got that set up, and to Charlene, who has worked to ensure that we maintain that status. And that allows us just to kind of independently fundraise and secure speakers for workshops and things of that nature. All right, so our goals for this year, so we were coming in with a new, primarily a new board, and after a couple of years of just due to COVID and everything else, by necessity, we were kind of disconnected from people a little bit more than in the past. So our biggest goal was really to reconnect with our membership and hopefully outreach to new members as well. So we tried pretty early on to set up a schedule for the year to make sure we had really consistent meetings and events for people, and that we put that information out there so people always knew what was coming up, that there were things coming up, and we tried to make those things as accessible as we could to people, and we tried to offer those as well, some in person and some virtually. I think we're still kind of figuring that out, as everybody probably is. So we saw a lot of familiar faces, people who came to our meetings pre-COVID and, you know, what we were able to do during. We also saw a lot of new faces this year, which was great, and a lot of new faces that have become familiar faces, which is awesome. We really are really happy with how that went this year. I think there's always a lot more work to do, and those are some of the things we think about looking towards next year about how we reach a wider range of families. But we are really happy that we were able to connect with so many people this year. And I do want to take that, like, just on that note, the opportunity to just recognize and appreciate our families. We have so many, like, wonderful, strong advocates here in town, really knowledgeable parents and caregivers, and people who take the time out of their schedules, it's really difficult to do for our families. It's hard for me sometimes to make our meetings, and I schedule them. So it can be really difficult for our families to have the time and the energy to come out or sign on or whatever the case may be with whatever kind of meeting it is. But they do, and they're so supportive of one another and willing to share their experiences and what they've learned. And we really appreciate that. It's just really great to work with families in this district. So in addition to that, in terms of goals, no, you're fine. So fundraising, we wanted to, of course, make sure that we had funds to be able to offer workshops and events and things that are meaningful to our members, and we were successful with that, and are in a good position looking towards next year to be able to have some flexibility in what we can offer. And given that we were, again, primarily a new board, just working on those relationships with the district, with surrounding CPACs, and with the community, which, again, we definitely made some progress there and look forward to continuing to grow those relationships. All right, so I'm going to summarize our events, and then Charlene will tell us a little bit more about some specific ones that we did. So this year we had 6 general meetings, so those are weekday evening meetings. We tried out a sort of rotating day schedule this year, instead of having like the first Tuesday of every month, and then if somebody can't do Tuesdays, they can never come. So we thought we would give it a try to sort of rotate them around. We'll be doing a survey of our members to see kind of how that was received. There's something to be said for a consistent time, but so we're just kind of figuring out what's going to work best. But that's how we did it for this year. So sometimes those were business meetings, those are our elections, planning for future events, specific discussion topics, things like that. We had one that Megan Lindsay came to, which we really appreciated. That was our one that we did in person. And I know I learned a lot at that meeting and really appreciated spending time with us. We also had 7 what we called coffee and connect meetings. Those were in person on weekday mornings. Again, we kind of rotated those in a similar fashion. We had 4 workshops and presentations that were in the evenings virtually. 3 of those were in partnership with Northborough, Southborough, and Neshoba CPACs, which was great. Those relationships have been really good, and that allows us all to offer something to our membership while splitting the cost of that thing. So that gives us a lot of flexibility, and I think is something that we'll continue to do, and maybe look to make some connections with other CPACs as well. We were able to have a strategic planning forum with Focus Schools, and we did the 2 fundraisers. Our last general meeting, which was just on Monday, we had Laurel Rossiter, who's the Director of Recreation, came, and we had a great conversation about adaptive, accessible type recreation programming, so that was great as well. All right, so I'll pass to Charlene to go a little more into some of those events.
All right, so one of our early on fundraisers was a textile event. It allowed people to give the opportunity to donate clothing and such that they're not using any longer. We worked in conjunction with the Epilepsy Foundation, who we donated a little bit shy of 3,000 pounds of clothing, and trust me, that truck was packed. So we were very thankful for all the participation in that event. It allowed us to fund 2 different presentations this year, just with that fundraising event alone. One of the presentations we had, this was one of the ones that was in partnership with surrounding CPACs, was Jonathan Mooney, who spoke about his experience. It was great to hear from somebody who has lived and gone on to be successful despite their disabilities. And the biggest takeaway from his presentation was accommodation versus remediation. We had another fundraiser, which was a photo shoot event. One of our board members graciously allowed us to use her backyard, her fenced-in backyard, and it was beautiful, so scenery was great. And Tom allowed our families, he donated his time and was able to allow the opportunity for our families to take a photo event outside. And he was very gracious with that. This fundraiser allowed us to cover one event this year, and we have money left over for next year as well. One of our other events was the Basic Rights, Understanding an IEP. This was held in December, and it was in partnership with the Federation for Children with Special Needs. This is a free workshop, and we're required to provide this. It allows families to understand the IEP and their rights underneath that, and it was a very formative and well-attended event. We had another workshop. This was in February. This was also in conjunction with surrounding CPACs with Karen Kraut. So she discussed collaborative problem solving. Her two main takeaways is rewards and punishment don't always work in every situation, and understanding the why behind the behavior and the skills that are necessary to understand how to change the behavior was her message, and she offered a lot of different resources during that workshop. Our next one was in March of 2023 on ADHD Essentials. This was also in conjunction with surrounding CPACs. It was with Brendan Mahan. Very popular and well attended. We had 25 participants from Shrewsbury. He discussed the role of executive functioning and the emotional impact of ADHD and the practical strategies that you can use at home and school.
Yeah. So our Coffee and Connect events were, I would say, well, our workshops were really great this year and well attended, and there was a lot of interest. But we got really great feedback on this from people. They were really popular, and it says average attendance was approximately 6 people. That sounds really small, but for CPAC, that's kind of, that's a really great number for us, really. There were some where there were less people. There were some where there were more people. But they were great. There were some really good conversations had there. There were relationships formed there, and people who connect outside of those now, which is great. I really enjoyed them and have heard a lot of great things from our families. We did have some requests for similar type events in the evenings. We didn't come through on that this year, but I think as we prepare for next year, we'll kind of think about what we're able to offer and again, how we can be accessible to as many families as possible. But I'm really glad that we did those, and shout out to Bean Counter for being a really awesome spot to do those too. That worked great. All right, so kind of wrapping up, and not the forum to do a real deep dive into any of these things, but just wanted to give an idea of some of the things that come up frequently in our meetings, and especially at our coffees. And everything on this slide and the next slide are things that when we met, I believe it was in March, I went to look, but I think it was in March, with Dr. Sawyer and Meg and Lindsay, that we talked about all of these things as well. And everybody is, agreeable to continuing conversations about these things. So we just wanted to give a little summary of these. So positives, definitely the biggest is always the teachers and staff. Here, a lot of our families are struggling with different things, but I feel like a lot of people are almost hesitant to talk about those things because they don't want it to be a reflection on the teachers and staff. There's always talk of how wonderful the teachers and staff are, and we really appreciate and acknowledge what a very, very difficult job that is, and that they show up every day for our kids and do amazing work with them. The system is challenging everywhere, and Shrewsbury is no exception, but at the same time, we know that there are a lot of really wonderful people working within it, and our group is very aware and appreciative of that. Transportation and staffing, I mean, this was just something that I think this year, especially at the beginning of the year, was a big issue in a lot of other districts. And at least in our group, the people that we heard from, people were not encountering major issues there, which we were hearing about from people in other areas. So we imagine that a lot of work went into ensuring that that was the case. And we just really appreciated that we didn't have those additional challenges that we know that some did. And then, of course, the RISE program, and everybody is very familiar with that at this point, and so just wanted to acknowledge the excitement and appreciation around that from our group as well. All right, so we're calling these opportunities. These are things that kind of came up from families as areas of need, and we're only including things here that come up regularly. So our role is to share things that come up on a consistent, systemic type of level, not things that come up for one person, 2 people, 3 people. So these are things that that came up pretty frequently, and again, that we have already shared and discussed. So, so one was initial eligibility evaluations. This was interesting because we heard a lot from families who aren't involved in special education yet. I was really glad that they knew that they could reach out to us, so that was a win. We heard from families kind of at all levels, from Parker Road to the high school and everywhere in between, about some challenges with that process. And so, so again, we kind of talked about that, and discussion centered around how we kind of clarify that for families, for staff. And I think there's room for us to do more and better in that area as well. I hadn't thought that much about how do we reach families who aren't involved in special education, because our role is really to be with those families who are, but there does appear to be a need for families who are kind of looking at potentially entering that space, and how we get information to those families. So I don't know necessarily the answer to that, but I think it's worth us thinking about on our end as well. Another hot topic this year was accessibility and inclusivity of the elementary school playgrounds, particularly in regards to like ADA compliant flooring of the playgrounds, which we have at Beale, but not at the other schools, and fencing for safety of students who might elope or bolt, which is a concern for a large number of our families, and did end up being kind of a barrier for us in planning a social event at a playground this year, which was something that we had wanted to do, but we really weren't able to land on one that would meet the needs of our membership. So we just look forward to future discussion on that. And then last, but definitely, I would say the most frequently discussed topic, actually, and a concern for, I would confidently say more than half of the families that we interacted with this year would be disability-related behaviors. I know, especially like coming off of COVID, when you look at the surveys, thought exchanges, things like that, we're hearing from teachers and staff that they're, wanting, I don't know if frustrated is maybe not the best word to use, but wanting more support around that, around sort of classroom management and behaviors that happen in the classroom. We see feedback from families who are concerned about, maybe our kids disrupting the classroom for their kids and things of that nature. And I think for us, we see the impacts, mental health and otherwise, on our kids when sort of traditional methods are applied to things that are manifestations of their disability. And this is way more complex than we can talk about right here, but just to kind of give an idea of what it is that we're talking about. So many of our families are embracing other approaches like collaborative problem solving, which is one of the workshops that we offered, which has made its way into some school districts with excellent results for students and for staff. And again, our presentation with Jonathan Mooney also kind of touched on that a little bit with that accommodation versus remediation piece. So we would just love to continue that conversation, because really we would like to see everybody feeling better and feeling supported around that, not just our students, but also the teachers and staff as well. So I think that's definitely worth more conversations as we move forward. All right, so we look ahead to next year. I think we are happy with what we were able to do this year, but definitely look to gather some feedback from members more formally to see what people are looking for, what worked and what didn't about this year, so that we can look ahead to next year and make sure that we're meeting people's needs and doing what works what works for them, you know, the in-person versus virtual and the way we approach the scheduling and all those kinds of things. We'll want to hear from people about what they think. We'll look forward to continued conversations with the district, continued relationship building with surrounding CPACs, definitely looking at how we can connect with families who might not already be involved with special education or with us. And I think a big area of need for us is some improvement to our communications in terms of our website, our newsletters, emails, you know, some printed materials we could have in the schools for people. There's definitely more that we could be doing there, and that'll be something that we'll be focusing on next year while thinking about how we can do that in a way that reaches a wider range of families. So these are just ways to connect with us, so people can go to our website, shrewsburycpac.org, email us, shrewsbury.cpac@gmail, and we have a private Facebook group, Shrewsbury CPAC, that people can request to join, answer a couple questions, and I'll let them in. So people can feel free to reach out to us whether or not they're involved in CPAC or have been to one of our meetings or anything like that. People can always feel free to reach out.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Questions or comments? Ms. Heffernan?
If I can, it has been really an honor to be a liaison on the school committee with the CPAC over all my years on the committee thus far. But this year it was really nice to have a chance, one, to get to know the new leadership team, and so thank you. I mean, should be said, it's also a volunteer gig. You're doing on top of lots of other things, and you've got your own kids in the districts, or you know, so it just there's a lot there, and I just want to really appreciate you for what you're doing. And I think it's, you know, when I think about special education, right, it is an incredibly highly regulated system at the federal level, the state level, locally we're supposed to implement it. The language is all about teams, and yet I know for many families it doesn't always feel that way because it is both really overwhelming and bureaucratic and can be really confusing. And that's not on the part of our staff particularly, but there's a lot that could be the important connections that we need to make sure that parents have to know the voices that they have. And yes, we're required to send know your rights things and the like, but you're doing the important sort of like parent to parent, having those conversations and then being able to come back to the district and say, hey, here's some stuff that's more systemic. Let's talk about it. And I really appreciated that relationship and an opportunity. And I think as you come out of COVID, I think there's more opportunities to kind of continue to build that. I think you're doing both, skill building for parent, but it just be as a parent who has a child in the special education program, right, to know how important those peer-to-peer connections are. Like, is this how it's supposed to go? Like, I'm a lawyer who used to represent kids in special ed, and it's still confusing, right? Like, and so I just want to be like, yeah, that's so it's very, very to normalize that and then find spaces and so like the systems that we all have to work within. And I just have really appreciated that partnership. And I know there's ways, and I know Meg is a great resource here, and I know Dr. Sawyer under your leadership this matters, but other ways that we can continue to help, right? Like, how as a district do we, at back to school nights that we have your flyer out or whatever it is, because you're trying to do a lot of work, and how can we help make that just a little bit easier so parents know that's there, right? Or whatever it might be. And I know you've been in a year of rebuilding and a lot of planning, but I think it's important that part of the reason why you're supposed to come here and talk to us every year as one of those mandated things on a list is to make sure that we can also help facilitate that, right? Because those are really important, and I just want to really appreciate all of that effort and say that I look forward to continuing this conversation and thinking about ways we can do better. I'm glad you were here tonight to see lots of good work. Mm-hmm. That also though doesn't diminish that there's always more work to do, mm-hmm. right? And so we can be really proud of a lot of great stuff and a lot of great staff who are trying really hard, and then acknowledge there's some families who aren't maybe feeling that way, and we need to hear them and give them space and voice. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Just wanted to also thank you. It's a very informative presentation, and I want to appreciate the efforts that you're making to try to make connections with parents, especially in light of the past few years. I think the Coffee Connections program sounded really promising, and I thought what a great way to kind of have that individual connections made and to ask questions maybe in a more private setting of somebody that's been through it and can kind of really give somebody some guidance. So I just, thank you for sharing all this information with us. It's very helpful.
And I will also want to thank you for the time that you put in the fundraising efforts, because that's a lot. When anybody who's been involved in fundraising, we're all looking for different angles and ways that we can fundraise for our group, and you've done a great job. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. You're advocating for your students, but you're also advocating for staff. Like, it's really a two-pronged approach, which I think is great. I thank Ms. Heffernan for being the liaison and the collaborating with the school committee, and I agree. I think it's best for us to continually hear concerns, things that you're happy with. You know, that's the way we're going to get better and make sure that we're doing what everybody wants to have done, and make sure that we're all on the same page. So thank you for bringing that forward. And my children are long out of school, but I love the virtual workshops, so I can sit at home in my pajamas. And I found they were fascinating. The ones that you put on this year, I was able to attend 2 virtually, and they were fascinating. And I think those are the things that would be great for the community to hear and see and understand more about what these programs are for and what we're trying to do. So thank you for doing that. I thought that was great, because I think gets more people when we can sit on our couch and kind of watch all of that piece of it.
Sandy, can I add one thing that I want to just also make sure that people know that you hosted a special event just around our strategic planning work, and when we think about the voices of parents who we know we're always concerned we're not hearing from, having you help us bring them to the table, so to speak, and I know that in particular when working with our consulting team, they said how important that was, and there were different ways as we're reviewing these big planning documents about what we're doing. Lots of different places where I could see those voices reflected in what is finally there, and so I just want to also acknowledge this. We're also like, hey, by the way, you want to help us plan for the next 5 years? So we've asked a lot this year, and I just wanted to not miss. It was one bullet line, but I thank you for it, because it's really helping us in so many different ways set our direction for years forward, right? Not your next meeting at the school, but like, what are we doing more systemically?
Right, and we say all stakeholders. It's all stakeholders. We want to make sure we're hearing, and it's hard to get people sometimes to come out or even to answer a survey, so we share that with you. We're always trying to find ways to make sure we're hearing from everyone. So I really appreciate the report and the collaboration, and I think this is something that we just need to do more of as we go forward. Dr. Sawyer?
Thanks. I know Ms. Belcito will want to share some words of gratitude as well, but I do want to thank you for the presentation this evening and sharing the information. And there's a lot that you did this year, and a role that is voluntary and is above and beyond other things you need to be doing. But parents stepping into leadership roles is really critical for us. For both you, Ms. Flanders and Ms. Doherty, but also Ms. Cronin, Ms. Boyer, who couldn't be here this evening, to take the torch and start to move forward, especially in this post-pandemic environment. I think we definitely made some inroads, and that's something we're going to want to continue to do. I think around communications in particular, and that's something that's a goal of ours as a district and mine personally, in finding ways to make sure that message is getting out there in a variety of different ways, and wherever those opportunities are, so people can make those connections is going to be key. It was interesting that one of your events and one of your joint events, I think, had Jonathan Mooney as a speaker. Just so the school committee knows, you may recall, but also our staff knows that one of our professional development opportunities for all staff was a live keynote from Jonathan Mooney. And so to see the kind of separately we were on the same wavelength there was really gratifying for me, and that Ms. Belcito and her team had thought about that as an approach, something that our staff could certainly benefit from. It was great to hear parents hear his message as well. With that, again, looking forward to continued work together in the coming year, and working at strengthen the areas that are working well for people, and hearing about things that aren't people are struggling with, or maybe things that we can improve upon as a school district is always something that we're interested in doing. And I think that as we start to normalize our operations more, now that we're a little bit further post-COVID, I think we can get back into some regular routines of connecting and that kind of thing. But I love Ms. Belcito as well, just to be able to have an opportunity to say a few things.
So when I started in the district over 7 years ago, Blake and Jill and Colleen were instrumental in that transition during that time, and making sure that the CPAC was a positive and collaborative group for our parents and for our staff to work together. And now to have this transition this year has been so helpful, And we truly appreciate the opportunity to continue to have that bridge for our families, and through the school committee and through our staff to be able to connect with families. And I know a lot of times our teams will benefit from having information to share with their meetings and in their buildings. And this year, a number of times I would hear, how do we get information out, because the parents are asking. So that's going to be a great opportunity to continue that. In your events, word is definitely getting out, and I think that that's just something that speaks to your openness and your willingness to help support with everything else you're doing with your own lives, and then to be of service to others. We truly appreciate it, and we look forward to the opportunities and also to continue with the positives. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for presenting.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Much. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our minutes from our meeting held on May 10th, 2023. Are there any changes or corrections? Nope. There being none, those can be accepted as distributed. And we do not need to go into executive session this evening, so if there's nothing further for us this evening, we have a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
So moved.
Second. Roll call vote is required. Ms. Sharifpour?
Yep.
Mr. Wensky?
Aye.
Ms. Boucher?
Aye.
Ms. Heffernan?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Thank you and good night.